Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Jake Claver says timelines always get extended, stands by his XRP prediction. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so off the back of my controversial video where I addressed the fact that Jake Claver's price prediction didn't come true, we've now got Jake Claver saying that timelines get extended and he's standing by his prediction. And he's actually gone on to say that he believes XRP will get to $10,000 by the end of 2026. Okay, so look, I'm going to try and do this in a different way because there was quite a lot of interesting responses in regards to my video about this. Not that it really bothers me because I expected it. I know how it is. I said it in the first video. Obviously, you're always going to get their fan bases who come in and want to defend, you know, the person who they follow. And it's not just that. It's their belief, right? Like if you're saying certain things are not going to happen, you actually get people who feel like you're attacking them because that's what they believe, right? So as always, I just want to make it clear, I am an XRP holder, so I want XRP to be successful, right? If XRP is not successful, that's money that I'm not going to get. But I'm always here trying to give you guys the truth. Okay, so look, in regards to Jake saying that timelines get extended, I said it in my original video, right? The first thing that's going to happen in regards to this is he will basically move the goalposts and the timeline will just get extended. That's exactly what I said. And so I'm not surprised to hear that's his response. To be honest with you, I pretty much anticipated that. And so I want to be objective here, right? I saw a short by Jake Claver and he was talking about, someone says to him basically, look, I don't care about what you're saying, just when is the price prediction? So the first thing I'll say is this. If you keep putting pressure on people to just give price predictions, this is the kind of stuff you're going to get. So I do think here, like I will give a bit of grace in that regard. Like stop pressuring people to just give price predictions because you're just asking people to make guesses, right? And so he was talking about by the end of 2026, I believe, at that point in time. And he also did say, look, I haven't got a crystal ball. I could be wrong. So I give him some props on that. The only reason why I have to give a bit of pushback here is because he was talking about XRP either getting to $1,000 or $10,000, one or the other. And look, in my opinion, that just ain't happening. It's just not going to happen. And so, yes, okay, fair enough. He was being pressured to give a time frame. But also on the flip side, I just don't think that price target is realistic anyway, which Jake thinks it is realistic. So that's where we have our differences of opinion here. And so I want to just get into this, right? Look, this is the thing. I'm going to try and break this down as simple as I can make it now, right? Now, people who want to believe this will believe it. People who are unsure will maybe want to do their own research. And the people who don't want to believe it, they won't believe it. And they'll just come in. They'll just write an angry comment and say something disrespectful because that's what they do. And that will be it, right? Hopefully there's some people who can have a mature conversation. I'm always up for that. You'll see that in my previous video. People who come with a mature response, I had a mature conversation with. The people who are just ignorant, like I'm not going to respond to them because what's the point? Like those are the kind of people, you're not going to change their mind, right? There's no point conversating with them. Like you're not going to be able to change their opinion. Like they're just stuck in their ways. So this is the truth, right? This is the plain truth, as simple as I can put this, right? The reality of XRP, okay, it's just, it's a lot more boring than what people want to believe. There's no secret governments in talks with Ripple. There's no thing with all these banks who are really all waiting, where every world in the bank have got XRP and they're just waiting to use XRP. They're just waiting for this switch to be flipped and then every bank in the world is going to be using XRP. None of that is true. And do you know how you can actually verify that? Do you know how you can actually prove that? The XRP ledger is online, right? Like you can go and view all the wallets out there. So if you really wanted to see if every bank in the world had XRP ready to go, do you know what you could do? You could check the on-chain wallet activity. Now, you're not going to know what wallet belongs to what bank or anything like that because you'd have to do a lot of due diligence and research to try and figure that out. But the point that I'm making is you would see certain wallets all around the world having X amount of XRP. So you'd be able to see, well, hold on, like, why is there so many wallets out here that are holding like millions of XRP? What's the deal with that? They're all holding similar amounts, and that's across the board. And you'd be able to say, well, isn't that each bank that are waiting for this, switch to be flipped? Do you see what I'm saying? So you can check this kind of stuff out. Like, you don't have to just listen to what I'm saying. Like, you can go and verify this information. It's just not accurate. Now, the other thing I'll say is, the truth of the matter with XRP is, it's a cryptocurrency like any other cryptocurrency. I'm not saying that to say it's a bad cryptocurrency. Like, it's a good cryptocurrency. I'm invested in it. I believe in its future. But the whole idea of like, the IMF are secretly waiting to fix the price and all this kind of stuff. Like, let's just be realistic for a second. If that was the case, why not do it already? Why wouldn't that have already have happened? And then, people talk about, for example, the lawsuit being fake. If the lawsuit was fake, why was the outcome exactly the opposite of what you would want if the whole idea was to get XRP to $10,000? Because, for example, if we look at what the ruling was of the lawsuit, right? The ruling was that XRP is not a security. And Annalisa Torres, what she did was she judged it as, for the institutional side of things, yeah, you've done things wrong. But in terms of the retail, you're absolutely fine. So what that meant was, us as retail holders, we were safe. But in terms of the institutional holders, they had to change the way they operate. If they wanted to make it so that XRP got to $10,000, the logical thing would have been the opposite of that, right? The logical thing would have been, hey, the way you're selling to the institutions is absolutely fine. You can carry on with that. But to retail, no, you can't do that. And what would that have meant? That would have meant that we are now effectively locked out of XRP, but all the institutions can use XRP, which would have meant then we can't really use the XRP, and then the institutions can, and then they can change the price. So do you see how a lot of this logically, it completely contradicts what the influencers are saying? It just doesn't really make sense to go by this whole thought process. The other thing is, what people don't understand is that if XRP, because they talk about like XRP moving trillions, right? Even if XRP had like Bitcoin's, market cap, you do understand that XRP wouldn't be like $100,000, right? It'd be like, I think it's like $20 or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it wouldn't be even in the hundreds. So that's with $1 trillion market cap. So even when you talk about XRP moving trillions, like, that only still makes it into like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, right? It doesn't take it up into the hundreds even. So again, there's a lot of things here that you can just look at logically to say it wouldn't make sense for XRP to get to $10,000. Now, the thing that I will say with Jake in regards to the timeline thing, the thing for me about this is that Jake, a lot of people have said, well, it was only going to be relevant if this, and this were to come true. The problem with that is we can all keep making these factors as to why XRP could reach $10,000, but is it realistic for all those factors to happen? So if I was to say, for example, okay, if everybody in the world wanted XRP, and every bank in the world wanted XRP, and every government in the world wanted XRP, and every company in the world wanted XRP could be, let's just say, $1 million, for example. Okay, that sounds great, but what is the reality of that coming true? What is the likelihood of that being true? And that's the thing, because let's just go on a wild hypothetical here. Let's say every person in the world wanted XRP, and every company in the world wanted XRP. Well, you could see those two things come true, but then you could say, yeah, but not every government wanted XRP. So it wasn't enough. You needed all of these things to come true. And so you can keep relying on that and keep saying, well, all these things need to happen. But are all these things ever going to come? It's the dangling carrot, right? It's that thing of you keep putting it out there and keep acting like, yeah, this is what we need. This is what we need. And if those things are not coming true, you can keep falling back on, well, not everything has happened, but it's not likely that those things are going to happen anyway. So you keep putting that thing of, it could happen if, you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you a kind of funny comparison here. It's kind of like how the whole thing with Andrew Tate with that fight, right? He lost that fight, and then he was like, well, you know, if I didn't get gassed out, I would have won. And it's kind of like saying, well, if I didn't lose, I would have won. And that's the kind of thing that I equate this to. It's kind of like, well, if all this, and this happens, then it will go to $10,000. Yeah, but the things that you're saying are like completely unrealistic. Like the things that you're expecting to happen for that to occur are completely unrealistic to all happen together. And so the people who are banking on that and hoping on that, yes, you're hoping these things happen, but the reality is those things are so unrealistic that it's not likely that that's going to occur. Do you see what I mean? So you're caught in that dangling carrot thing of just keep going for something, and it's just that little bit further away from you, and it's just not, you're never really going to reach it. And this is what, you know, a lot of influencers are doing. Like they're pushing out this stuff where they're making out like there's these factors that can make XRP reach this kind of stuff, but a lot of it is really unrealistic stuff. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm not surprised to see that he's pushed this further down the road. But again, I just, look, I'll put it to you like this. I don't do price predictions, right? Because the truth of the matter is, this is the plain truth. This is as simple as I can put it. Not one person on this planet, not one person, not David Schwartz, not Brad Garlinghouse, nobody, not one person can give you any type of idea of where XRP is going to go to. Not one. There's nobody out here who can tell you XRP is going to go to whatever price by whatever date. Nobody can do that. Nobody. That is the truth of the matter. It sounds annoying. It sounds boring, but that's the truth. Nobody knows. Absolutely nobody knows. Because if that's the case, why don't we have Brad out here giving price predictions? Why don't we have David Schwartz out here giving price predictions? They don't know, right? All they can do is continue to try and add value to XRP and hope the value comes. That's it. So anybody saying to you guys like, oh, it can get to this price by this date, there's no way to even quantify how things can get to whatever price. So for example, let's just say, for argument's sake, XRP was to have banks the world over using XRP. That doesn't guarantee it's going to get to $10,000. What if that got it to $100? What if that got it to, $20? What if that got it to $50? Like, there's no way you can actually quantify these numbers. All that is what they call the moon boy maths, right? Where they do these equations that really don't make any kind of sense and just give you a number. But again, it's the engagement thing. It's the engagement thing. And so one last thing, right? A lot of people get the idea that Jake has like inside connections from the way he speaks, like, people he's spoken to and the way he talks and stuff like that. Let me just say this, right? Because a lot of people feel like he's got some kind of connection to Ripple and this is why he has, this kind of information. Let me just say this, right? Okay, Ripple have like NDAs with companies and stuff like that, right? Jake is someone with a huge YouTube channel. Do you guys really believe that Ripple are secretly telling Jake, yeah, man, like XRP is going to go to $10,000. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it's going to go to $10,000. Do you think that Ripple are telling him this type of information? And Jake's getting into these meetings what Ripple are having with banks and stuff like that, and he's getting all this insider information and being privy to these conversations to then put on his YouTube channel and then tell everybody out in the world. Doesn't that completely contradict the point of having an NDA? If they're then telling a huge YouTuber who is then going onto YouTube and telling you guys, this is the kind of information that I'm getting and this is why it will hit these numbers. Doesn't that kind of contradict the whole idea of Ripple having NDAs in the first place? Do you see what I mean? It's like, make it make sense. So no, like Jake hasn't got inside ties or anything like that. He's a YouTuber like all of us. Yes, he's successful, so obviously people can assume these kind of things, but no, like he's not getting any kind of secret information. He's just doing research and making his own personal, predictions. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. So this is what I'm just trying to show you guys. I've got nothing against Jake. All I'm trying to show you guys is that these types of, price predictions and stuff, like, we just need to move away from them because it's just people giving you their guesses. They're just guesses and that's it. Like there's no real credibility to them. There's nothing to it. It's just people guessing stuff. And that's why there's been so many price predictions that have been wrong over the years. Like Jake's not the only person I've seen do wrong price predictions. I've seen many over the years. And this is why I'm out here trying to show it and put it to the front, because I'm trying to show you guys that, look, like a lot of this is not accurate. So the final thing I'll say just to finish this off, Jake's now saying that he thinks XRP will be $10,000 by the end of 2026. I don't do price predictions because, as I said, nobody knows where XRP is going to get to by any type of time frame. But I will say this, I'm willing to bet that XRP won't be $10,000 by the end of 2026 because I'm not confident that that's just not going to happen. Now look, what will happen here is, in terms of my channel, this is like a delayed gratification thing. It won't be until it's too late that people realize I was following the wrong person. I've been following this dream of this type of price number and it's just not come true. That's the thing. And who knows if I'll still be doing YouTube by the time that's realized, but that's the problem. You know, that's the problem, because people say, okay, well, he's a bit off by his timeline, but it's still going to happen. But my thing is like, well, how long do you keep giving him grace for? Because let's just say we get to like the year 2035, for example, and XRP still hasn't hit $10,000. Do you still say that Jake is correct, but we're just waiting for these things to happen? Or do you actually just acknowledge, no, this is wrong. This is actually wrong. Do you see what I mean? Because we can keep saying that if you want, and you can move that goalpost for as long as you need it to happen, because Jake could just say, look, these things still haven't happened yet, but when they do, it's going to go to $10,000. So, okay, how long are you willing to wait? 2030, 2040, 2050? Like, at what point are you willing to acknowledge that maybe that stuff just wasn't accurate? So that choice is for you guys to make. So I hope this has been a bit more clear cut to explain what I'm trying to say here. As I said from the first video, I've got nothing against Jake. I don't even know the guy, so this isn't me trying to attack him as a person. Like, it's nothing, like I've got nothing against the guy. I'm just trying to show you guys, in terms of XRP price predictions, you might just want to start like grounding your expectations a bit and maybe just stop listening to the predictions, because I think that's what gets a lot of people wrong-footed. I think that's the issue. So it's up to you guys what you want to do. Obviously, that's your choice to make, but I'm just trying to show you guys a lot of this stuff just ain't accurate. So I hope this has helped, but obviously it's up to you guys what you want to believe. If you still want to follow Jake, by all means follow Jake. I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm telling you why I don't think this stuff is realistic. Whether you want to accept that or not, if you guys want to continue to listen to that stuff, go ahead. Like, that's up to you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm giving you the information that I know and the research that I've done, and I'm putting it in your hands. It's up to you guys what you do with it. That's completely your choice. So if you guys want to follow me, great. If you want to continue to follow Jake, great. You know, if you don't want to listen to either of us, again, that's up to you. Like, go do what you want to do. But all I say is, like, do your own research. Don't just rely on influencers, you know. And like, even with me, like, you can challenge me on stuff. Like, I'm happy to have the conversation because I'm very confident in the research that I've done, and my research is grounded in reality. So I'm not here trying to push any kind of hype out here. So I'm very confident in what I say because it's completely fact-based. I'm not here just giving you fantasy stuff. I'm giving you very factual information. So I just think that's what you should be doing, looking for stuff that we can actually prove rather than thinking about like conspiracies that, you know, they're just pie in the sky theories. We've got no evidence to back it up. It's just faith, basically. It's just faith on conspiracy theories. That's what I'm just saying I think we should move away from, because it's been going on for a long time now, many years, and I'm sure people must be fed up and keep hearing these price predictions not coming true. So this is why I keep fighting to show you guys, like, look, that's going to keep happening if you keep pushing for it. That's going to keep happening as long as you keep trying to push people to give you predictions. So I'll leave it there, but I hope this has helped. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.